Hello, this is Elizabeth Clare Brewington with Discover Brightside, the video podcast where we discover new people. And I am so excited to introduce you to someone who you've never met before. So tell us about yourself and I think what you're doing is incredible.
So my name is Sharisha Barrett. I've been in education for almost 30 years. I've taught higher ed and also I've taught K through 12. And for about, I would say about over 10 years ago, I launched my education firm called Sharp Education Consulting. I was a fellow for the Institute on Educational Leadership program 13, 14 years ago. I can't remember, it's been so long ago. And I said, after participating in its Washington DC seminar, I said, you know what? My position is not to be in the classroom, but my position is to figure out ways in order for me to have a macro impact. So that was the same year that I decided to leave the classroom and I launched Sharp Education Consulting. Initially, I launched the company to provide family community engagement because I understand the importance of working together as a team. And then I would say about 2016 when the presidential elections results came out and I saw how divided our country became, I said, "Hey, how can I become this bridge builder?" And that's when I start focus on diversity, equity, inclusion. And so about 3 years ago, um, I saw that they were launching a master plan for the neighborhood I grew up in. And I said, "Hey, a lot of people, Halle Berry, um, Arnold Pickney, who was a political strategist for Jesse Jackson. You have all these prominent people that lived in the neighborhood. How can we preserve the rich history before it's too late? I knew that the neighborhood had a aging population, and so what we did. What I'm saying we did, because of course I'm the one who came up with the idea, but of course I couldn't do all that work by myself, is that I launched the Lee Harvard Memorial Project. And it was a way in order to celebrate the rich history of Lee Harvard, because Lee Harvard had the first Black-owned shopping center in the country. And it was a way for people to come back home. Doesn't matter who you talk to, how long if they left the neighborhood 60 years ago, whether they're Black or whether they're white, they always have a strong connection with the neighborhood. And so the first we hosted in 2023, September 9th, 2003, we hosted our first ever Lee Harvard Block Party. And it kicked off the Lee Harvard Memorial Project. So what we've been doing is doing a lot of public history work. We've hosted um, we've hosted numerous events. One event that we hosted was called the all class reunion, where we had people who went to schools in the neighborhood were able to connect with one another. We had an event focused on honoring the veterans that once resided in the neighborhood. And then what we're doing right now is we're partnering with some organizations that are located in the state Shaker Heights area, and we're started an initiative called United by Lee in order to bring Lee Harvard and the city of Shaker Heights together. And what we've been doing for the last year is planning 4 events. So we did a tour in October, touring the historical places in Lee Harvard and Shaker Heights. Then we're working on a youth summit on February 21st, and then we're going to have a cross community dinner on March 1st, which is of course is Ohio's birthday. And then lastly, we're going to have a cross community picnic at the Shaker Historical Society. So my role as an educator is to bring people together, is to figure out ways to focus on what we have in common and not what we have in common, and understand the importance of that we all have shared histories. And whether you were even brought here by force or you came here by choice, you had to overcome adversity in order for you to become American. And once I notice you keep on highlighting those stories, then people start figuring out, hey, we do have a lot in common. And then if I can keep on developing events that focus on that, maybe I can be part of making this a better country, not just for some, but a better country for all.
Wow, that is a big ambitious Oh my goodness. Now we do a lot with veterans because we live in Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. And just by the virtue of being in a zip code like ours, it gives us a lot of military, and we're really close to Fort Bragg as well. Um, I just love the work that you're doing, bringing the community together, working with veterans. Come back home themes. Now we also do a Empower America event in August, and I would love to feature Le Harbor, and the stories behind it. It sounds like a wonderful place to visit. um and then all this education energy. So what do you think about AI? And do you think, because one of our goals on the channel is to get people to read more, to get math skills, and to comprehend. So we have a lot of authors, and so we encourage people to read, and we encourage people to sharpen their math skills. So what do you think about AI? Do you think AI is going to change our civilization and us? Is it going to make us better? Or as an educator, what do you think?
I think there are pros and cons of AI. Like for example, we're planning these two big events in February, one in February and of course one in March. And one of the things that I'm up here developing some activities to do for the two events. And all of a sudden, when I start, coming up with ways to say, well, come up with the border of the neighborhood or the border of Warrensville Township, and all of a sudden came up with a neighborhood I never heard of. So I reached out to historians and they're like, well, no, that doesn't exist. And so today someone sent me an article about sometimes AI hallucinates. And I said, well, I'm glad that I am that educator because I believe in the importance of research, and I also believe in the importance of looking uh, at primary sources. Then I was able to conclude, no, that is not a neighborhood. I'm like, I've never heard of that neighborhood. And then when I start sending it to people who know the history of the city of Cleveland and Warrensville Township, they're like, well, no, we've never heard of that neighborhood before. And so for me, as an educator, I always check. I don't just depend on one source. I look at multiple sources to determine the validity of a concept, or or just to be able to challenge if something is real or fake. But then you have people who don't have that skill set. And so the biggest thing is that how do we give people the skills to be digitally to practice digital literacy? And also how do we equip them with the skills to be able to determine what's real and what's not? And
Yeah,
so a lot of times you have to be an avid reader. Reading is something I enjoy. I feel as if knowledge is something that no one can ever take away from you. But everyone does not have that mindset. And so a lot of times people see like, oh my gosh, look at that monkey riding the lion. And you're like, well, no, that's not real. And it is hard because some people just don't have the skill set to do it.
right.
And I believe my role is, as I stated earlier, is that my role is to bring education to the streets. You know, the midterms are coming up in December. I want to be able to persuade people to vote in a nonpartisan way, because a democracy cannot stand if the system doesn't work. It's also my responsibility to educate people about the three branches of government, and also educating them of the importance of civic engagement. Those are things I'm really focused on, because in the K through 12 setting, they have to, those kids have, it's mandatory for those kids to go to class every day. If not, of course, the parents will have to suffer with consequences. But there are a lot of people that just don't know about history. There are a lot of people that don't understand the importance of the Bill of Rights. They don't even know what their responsibilities of being citizens in the United States. And so for me, bringing education to the streets, partnering with museums, historical societies is a way for me to be able to get people who typically wouldn't read something or typically wouldn't watch a show about something to maybe learn one new thing. I tell people all the time, I'm a lifelong learner. I am learning something every day. And
Mhm.
there's more, and there's so much information that is out there that that is ready for us to reveal. And so that is my commitment. My commitment has always been to be an educator. I tell people my mission is the same, but my path is different. Although I'm not in a K through 12 classroom, I am still committing to helping people achieve upward mobility and also trying to remove barriers so people can reach their truest potential.
Wow. On that note, I want to thank you for this interview. It has been such an honor and privilege that I got to interview you today. And I hope that these education goals are really going to go far with the community. So thank you for watching Discover Brightside. And we'll make sure that all the links are available and that you will be able to reach out as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.